It's another lovely Saturday. Always a delight to bring you the program Politics Today on independent television and radio on the ITV radio network. Today on the program, look at some of the stories we are following. Representatives of organized labor on Friday walked out of a meeting with the federal government's team on palliatives. The meeting was a continuation of their deliberations on palliatives to cushion the effect of subsidy removal in the country. The Labour team, which was led by the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, did not speak to journalists as they made their way from the venue of the meeting. FG's representatives and that of Labour had earlier met on Wednesday with discussions coming out positive. The government was expected to provide feedback on some of the demands made by Labour upon the resumption of the meeting on Friday. But the meeting could not hold as planned, as Labour officials claimed that the government's representatives were not present. Members of the Labour teams were also delayed at the State House gate before being allowed into the meeting venue. Since the removal of the petrol subsidy, the price of the commodity is now on the high side. Labour, which is pushing for palliatives for Nigerians to cushion the impact of the move, has threatened to embark on strike. In the build up to the constitution of the Federal Executive Council, we have that federal government has asked Ministerial Nominees to complete documentation ahead of the screening on Monday. We're aware that no fewer than 28 members made the list. 4 former governors were selected by the president alongside other nominees to make up the cabinet. The senior special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters, Senator Abdullahi Gumel, on Friday asked the ministerial nominees to complete their documentation. In a statement, Senator Gumel said the documentation for all ministerial nominees has commenced. The nominees were asked to visit the office of the senior special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters, Senate, at the National Assembly complex between Friday 28th and Sunday 30th July for necessary documentation ahead of their screening, which commences on Monday, July 31, 2023. Documentation for ministerial nominees has commenced, and all nominees are expected to complete all necessary processes before the screening. The statement read, "The office will open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for this purpose. This is to enable all nominees to complete the process before the screening." So, we're looking forward to how all of that will pan out. Let's take you to the regional crisis right now in Africa, where the president, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has condemned in strong terms the current political situation in neighboring country, talking about Niger Republic. President Bola Tinubu will on Sunday host a special meeting of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, over the political impasse in Mali. Presidential guards seized power in Niger Republic on Wednesday, detaining President Mohamed Bazoum. The situation has sparked condemnation from the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, ECOWAS, as well as the United States. Worried by the situation, Tinubu, who is also the ECOWAS chairman, quickly dispatched the president of Benin Republic, Patrice Talon, to the West African country that has been termed the most coup-prone in the region. In a statement on Friday by his media aide, Dele Alake, the president condemned the current political situation in the neighboring country. He also pledged that ECOWAS and the international community would do everything possible to defend democracy and ensure democratic governance continues to take firm root in the sub-region. Okay, let's quickly go into the heart of our package for today on the program Politics Today, reaching you live on independent radio. Of course, earlier this week, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sent the 28 ministerial list to the National Assembly for screening, and the National Assembly will carry out their constitutional function in screening the ministerial nominees on Monday. That explains why the spokesperson for the Senate is asking them to complete their documentation between Friday yesterday and Sunday. In the screening processes, 3 key things will come into play: the experience of the ministerial nominees, their capacity, as well as their pedigree. all of these will come out strongly. And the Senate is saying, even if it takes 3 hours to screen just one of the nominees, they will do it. But interestingly, there are questions that are coming forward as far as these nominees list is concerned. At the moment, we don't know who is going to be in whatever portfolios, because the name sent note portfolio has been attached, so we can't really tell where they are going to function. But what is very clear in this list is that we have 4 former governors, and some are asking, so all this while we've been waiting for this past how many months, we're waiting to have former governors as our ministers? Really? Is that what Mr. President has kept us waiting all this long? Anyways, I won't be providing all the answers in this conversation. In fact, none of the answers. My job here is to lead this conversation to a logical conclusion. Let's quickly meet our panelists today on the program. I'd like to thank very specially Dr. Tony Osakmawa Agbons. He's an academic and global affairs analyst joining us live from the United Kingdom. Dr. Tony, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, my brother, Sonny Duke, for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, as always. I also have with us on the program a politician, public affairs commentator, Bob Manuel Umoru, is joining us via Zoom from Lagos. Bob Manuel, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Edo people. God bless you all.
Thank you. And I have with me here in the studio, our network studio in Benin City, a constitutional and human rights lawyer, Barrister Daniel Ogbegie. Barrister Daniel thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me this morning.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Good morning to Edo people and good morning to Nigerians everywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Let me start with you, Dr. Agbons. 28 member list sent to the National Assembly for screening. That exercise will start on Monday. The Senate is very vehemently clear about how they want to go about this exercise. Was there any surprise in this list? Were you in any way disappointed by this list sent by Mr. President to the Senate for screening?
Thank you, Sonny, for that question. And thank you for your very robust introduction of this topic this morning. I think you covered every blade there. Personally, I would say that I'm not really impressed with the ministerial list. And the reason is that, like you already alluded to, for that we waited for 60 days, I think, that the Constitution stipulates that the President must send his list to the National Assembly, and then to get the names we have now, it's not eliciting any buzz, at least from me personally, because what the media handlers of the President, even during the campaigns and after the election result was pronounced, is that President is a talent hunter. He know how to discover talent, and putting technocrats together and all that. So, but when you look at the list, like you just said, to be having a list made up of former governors who are tired and who should be retired anyway, former senators, former members of the House of Rep, political acolytes and accomplices, so they are just there. So apart from maybe 3 or 4, and which I will highlight later as we go in this discussion, I'm not personally, I'm not impressed with this list.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm not.
Thank you, Dr. Agbons. We'll just keep tabs with you. Let's get your perspectives on the release of this 28-member list by Mr. President sent to the National Assembly. I'm talking to you now, Bob Manuel Umoru.
Thank you so much, sir. For one, I am not disappointed with the list that I've seen so far.
Okay.
And the reason I'm not disappointed is this. When you have an examination out of 100, you score 70 or 80, I would say you have done very, very well. From my little research or deep research about the person or the personality of the sitting president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I want to take us back to his track record. Like Dr. Agbon said, he is a hunter. And when we say Tinubu is a hunter, we mean one of the best political hunter anyone can have in any phase of our society as far as Africa is concerned. I am at least very, very hopeful that the names on this list, with some of their track record, for example, like Governor Wike, Abubakar Momo of Edo State, if you look at it, perhaps some be a political nomination, while some be nominated based on their credentials. If it has to do with Edo State by political affiliation or by pedigree, I don't think Abubakar Momo will get that appointment. But I know that looking into his CV, the president knows that these are the persons he needs. Then you look at the likes of Governor Wike, no sensible man, no sitting president, no one who had number 6 on his head will not want the likes of Wike and El-Rufai on their team. What about the lady from Delta State, Okotete? These persons have credentials. Sometimes I don't like using political participation to judge people, or because I am affiliated to a party or close to the president, I should get an appointment. Okay. If the president brings on board people who I feel are better than me, or have their wherewithal to get what it takes to save this nation, I will give it to them. One thing you and I cannot take away from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he doesn't just make appointment. He doesn't just give you position for the sake of, I want the world to know you. No. Okay. He gives you based on capacity. And when we say capacity, we mean in-depth capacity. And Lagos success story today, like I always say, Asiwaju redesigned Lagos. And I know you'll be surprised that I'm speaking like this. Remember in 2020, I took him on media to the cleaners. But when it has to do with his capacity, it has to do with his sensibility, his intellectual prowess, I don't question it. I want to say this as we progress. Asiwaju is the only politician alive today in Nigeria and in Africa that can build the next generation of young leaders. The ministerial appointment or nomination is not what we need alone to put Nigeria on the running pedestal to prosperity. Okay. There are other agencies where we need more competent hands and intellectual driven people.
Okay. I'll pursue there, Bob Manuel Umoro. Let me get to my guest here in the studio. While you're speaking, Bob Manuel, Bryce Daniel Ogbegye has been having a lot of butterflies in his stomach. That's understandable. That's understandable. Well, let's put it this way. The Nigerian economy is in a parlous state. I mean, yes. Going from where judging from where we are coming from, yes. The previous administration, yes. The expectation has been that in constituting this Federal Executive Council with the new ministers, we'll have a lot of eggheads, we'll have a lot of technocrats, we'll have a lot of, more of the newbies who have excelled in different fields of human endeavors. We are still seeing the regulars. So we're just like what we've always been known for, always relying on the old dogs to be able to charge the affairs of this country. And that seems to be the reason why the country is in circles. Some of the governors you're talking about in their state, insecurity is at its highest peak, and nothing is working in terms of checkmating that challenge. So what have they got to offer at the national level? This is my question to you.
Nigerians are constantly looking for somebody with a magic wand to take away all the problems. And I have often said that that is not possible. There's no Messiah anywhere. What we need is a person that will be able to aggregate all our interests together, to put everybody on the table and form a proper team of all members of the country, irrespective of class, creed, religion, and ethnic groupings, to chart a proper course for us. And I can tell you, Sonny Duke, we have embarked on that now. We are starting that process now. And if anybody is not excited by this list, then I will be wondering. And I would think that they probably have not gone through the list very well, or because they know some of the people there. Now, for instance, somebody like El-Rufai, Is there any minister of the FCT since the history of the FCT in this country that has done as much as El-Rufai did in Abuja? El-Rufai single-handedly built Abuja within the space of about 5 years that he was minister of FCT. Is there any governor in Nigeria that could boast since 1999 to date that he has done as much infrastructure projects in his state as much as Governor Wike of Rivers State, who in the last 4 years built 12 bridges and flyovers in Rivers State and completely changed, transformed the landscape of Port Harcourt? There's none. Is there any of them that could even say that in terms of transparency and accountability, they could even beat Wiki, who came out to expose some governors of the Niger Delta, including our governor in Edo State, that President Buhari gave them money, and the rest were denying.
But money that is their right constitutionally. Is their right constitutionally.
To show transparency. So it shows that Tinubu took his time to pick a proper team that Nigeria needs for the now. As my friend Bob Manuel said, if you have 80%, then that is considered not even a pass mark. It is excellent. And I'm even saying that we are even going beyond excellent, because if you look at the ministerial list, you might say, oh, I know this one, I know this one. These are regular politicians. My friend, the doctor, Osabawa, who spoke just now, the UK where he resides, ask him if the political parties there, when they're in power, if they go outside their political party or outside the realm of politics to pick people as ministers in the UK. You cannot be a minister unless you're a politician.
Okay.
They will never appoint you as an envoy unless you're a politician. So there's nothing wrong with being a politician.
Okay.
Politicians are those who have chosen to serve the interests of the society, to serve the country.
Okay.
So I am excited, not this and a Duke, that before now, about a few days after President Tinubu was sworn in as president, he appointed 20 special advisors. And he's going to work with these special advisors as well as the ministers. In fact, the president is going to work more critically with the special advisors than even the ministers. If you want to examine or to project to where the direction that this president is looking at, look at his 20 special advisors. And there are eggheads there, there are young people there, 40-something, early 50s and all of that.
Okay.
People who have achieved in their choosing areas.
Okay.
He appointed them as ministers, as special advisors. And they're going to work with the president in the area, in the 4 or 5 critical areas of infrastructure, of electrification, electricity, power generation, distribution, transmission, and all of that. And they're going to work with him in declaring emergency in food production.
Okay.
Not just in food production, in security. And these are the areas the president is going to look at.
Okay, let me
just quickly say this.
Okay.
Now, Rome was not built in a day.
I agree.
Nigerians expect the president to perform magic in 2 months that he has been president. But we know that in the last 16 years, Nigeria has been in complete fiasco.
Okay, let's proceed. Dr. Tony Agbons, let's quickly know from you, what are your misgivings about the 28-man ministerial list sent by Mr. President to the Senate? We don't even know their portfolios because these names were sent without portfolios.
Yeah, thank you, Sonny Duke, and thanks to my fellow panelists, today. But I just want to make something straight here. I think the time for political campaign is over. So I think it's time for governance. So even though we know that there are issues in court, we are not even talking about that today. So, but let's face what is in front of us. So, because some of the things I'm hearing here is like, maybe we are in January 2023 or December 2022, it's like a campaign. Let's not even go that route. Nigeria, at the moment, we practice a presidential system of government. and we all know, as students of governance and constitutional democracy, we know what that entails. The United Kingdom, what we practice here is a parliamentary democracy, so there are two different things. I'm not saying that the list is wishy-washy, I'm not saying that, but I think Nigeria expected for 60 days, and the president even traveled to France. They said he was putting his team together and all that. For 60 days to come up with this list. It's not just about the former governor. If you look at this list, there are former House of Reps members, former senators in that list. So that is what a lot of Nigerians are talking about, and those are the things I highlighted. So we need a breath of fresh air. Look, let me say something here. If you look at somebody like Dr. Betta Edu, she's 36. Edu was born 1986 here. So that kind of thing is commendable.
Okay.
So we need a breath of fresh air. I was listening to an interview yesterday, former Mboyi State Governor, who is a current serving senator. You know what he said? He said, "Oh, I didn't lobby for this, so the president just made me a minister." In fact, when my current governor of Mboyi suggested it, they said they needed 3 names from Mboyi State. When he suggested my name, I said, no, governor, don't put my name there. I want to rest.
Yes.
He wants to rest in the Senate. Now he's a senator. Now he's been made a minister.
Yes.
So is it just so the concern of most Nigerians?
It's like a joke.
Like me, is it just about these people? We just keep recycling these people.
Yeah.
We keep recycling them. So they finish 8 years as governor. Won't you rest a little bit? You refresh, travel around, do some study, do some research, find out things. Then you just jump into another role. Look, I was listening to former Lagos State Governor Raji Fashola. You know what he said? He said it is very draining. He was chief of staff to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu when Tinubu was governor of Lagos State. When he finished chief of staff, he became governor for 8 years. Then after that, he became minister for 8 years. So when people were telling him that, you need to serve again, he said, my brother, I need to rest. Nearly 24 years. So, look, we are all human beings. So, and the work, like we all agree that the state Nigeria is now, this is not the state for people to go and learn on the job. We need to, start off and take off properly. So that is the point. So when we understand that,
yes,
we will understand the misgivings that a lot of us are having.
All right.
But, like it's often said,
yes,
time will tell.
Certainly. But Maria, let's look at some of the, because one of the most interesting part of the new media age that we are in, ICTs and new media, is that whatever you say today could be used against you in the nearest future, whether on the positive or on the negative. There's a video flying around, trending now, where Governor Wike said he wasn't interested in becoming a minister.
No, a member of APC.
Yes, he wasn't interested in becoming a minister at the time. That's the video trending. And then there was also a story that was credited to former Governor El-Rufai, where he also said he was not interested in serving as a minister. It looks like we are bringing some unwilling horses on board this government. Aren't there better placed individuals, younger people in these states that could have been nominated? I mean, look at the scenario playing out with Governor Umar, who is a serving senator, and he's been nominated as a minister from Ebonyi State. Are they saying that in whatever number of people that reside in Ebonyi State, they couldn't get someone apart from Dave Umahi that will be nominated as a minister? I'd like to get your perspectives on some of these shortcomings that we've seen in this list.
All right, thank you, sir. Like we say, the internet never forgets. True, Governor Wike made those statements, and they are still fresh as much as we can see in the hearts and minds of Nigerians. But let me say one thing here. Put particular age or specification on you have to be XYZ experience or spend XYZ years on a particular field before applying for a job. What people just see is the video. They didn't know what went on behind closed doors. Yes, he was not interested. They talked to him. if you have a job and you know there are people who have expertise in this and you don't want to make mistakes, whatever it takes to bring those companies or the contractors with such expertise to table, you will give to them. We have seen companies and governments issue out contracts of XYZ money, and then they know there are companies who have more expertise on this. They go ahead to increase their budget just to ensure that those companies come on board to carry out those assignments. That is what we see in Governor Wike and Governor El-Rufai. You and I cannot take it away. Just like the lawyer said moments ago, that nobody can question the credentials of El-Rufai as far as FCT and Kaduna is concerned. Let me even give you the point. El-Rufai is the only governor in Nigeria today that granted local government autonomy to all the LGAs in Kaduna State. No other governor tried that as far as Nigeria is concerned. So such a man, you want his intellectual prowess or capacity to waste. There are things which are beyond being partisan. I've been in politics since 1998. I've not been given opportunity even to the level of councillor. But that does not mean that when the chiefs are down, I'm given an opportunity to serve. There are people more qualified than me and they are given such position, I will come and condemn them. Now look at it. Imagine having a Wike as Minister for Works. Just look at that scenario. Which project or which minister are you going to hand to Wike, to Wale Edun and all the rest? It's not even about just the old timer. Look at that list. Many of them have never played politics on the national stage. They've not been given appointments as glorious as that of the minister. And for God's sake, is the more of administrative, putting together a ministry to achieve results than any other thing. So these persons have this capacity. One of the problems we just have with our generation or with our nations today is we are too much in a hurry to get results. And we have forgotten that result is monumental. We have to go through the process of getting the result. Yes, Governor Wike may have made certain statements, but the question is...
But Manuel, saying that we are too much in a hurry to get results, that's how we stayed for 8 years. I mean, 8 years of the past administration, the immediate past administration. I mean, it was such a horrific experience. We cannot even talk about the PDP years, as it were. And you're saying Nigerians are too much in a hurry for those that they've elected to perform. You said a while ago that President Bola Tinubu is known as a fantastic headhunter. What has he hunted now from this list that we have?
Thank you. He has hunted the best hands that will help us advance the very present state we are in as a nation. Let me tell you this. The government we are having today is not just an APC government. This is the government of national unity. And you form a government of national unity when you know that there are issues to be resolved, burning issues to be resolved. Let me take you to 29th of May when he was inaugurated. The first statement he made, he said subsidy is gone. The question is, did he remove subsidy? No. It was what President Buhari did. He continued with that. He didn't lay blames. He started putting the square pegs in square holes, round pegs in round holes. If you have ever followed up the person of Asiwaju, you will not doubt this thing. I am saying it again that in the solid mirror in education, on the medical field, or every other field.
Yeah. Okay.
Has changed the face of what we have today.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not in doubt about their credentials.
All right. Let me pause you there. Let me pause you, Bob Manuel. Let me pause you. I'll come back to you in a moment. Pastor Daniel Bugie.
Yes.
Some of those that have made the list, they have one corruption case or the other hanging on their neck, either at the level of EFCC or ICPC and what have you. What does that portend for this government in terms of having a clear-cut departure from the past? We're talking about those who will breathe fresh into governance, as it were. We're still stuck with the same parade of the old politicians. They've been ministers before, they've been governors before, now they are ministers again. They've been governors before, they are senators, and now they are back as governor. That's it's like a vicious circle, as it were.
Okay, first of all, I thought we just resolved that already. Maybe you should enlighten me. I don't know anybody that has been appointed as special advisor or minister by President Tinubu that is having corruption case on his neck. If you can just remind me, put me to one.
El-Rufai is one of them. Former Governor El-Rufai.
I'm not aware.
He's not approved by the FCC.
By the FCC.
Check your records, you'll find it there.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
If you're not sure, say you're not sure.
Yes, but I'm not aware because he was governor until May 29th and he had immunity. So I don't know at what point EFCC invited him. But having said that, it is essential for us to note, as Dr. Sapama said just now, unwittingly, he unwittingly said that we are in a hurry. We don't have time for trial and error. We don't have time for experimentation. That is true. We cannot afford to bring greenhorns into the governance of this country at this point. We must bring people with proven track record, people with proven performance, people with proven capacity. And many of these people on the list, they have proven capacity. Those who have been in government, they did well as governors. Go and ask. Out of the 4 governors that have been nominated, check anyone that didn't do well as governor. They all did well as governors before. In fact, Tinubu by himself had haunted El-Rufai. Even before he became the candidate of the APC, when he went to Kaduna, he told him, he said, El-Rufai, I know that you love books a lot. I know that you plan to go and study abroad, for further studies. He said, but I will not allow you, because I want you to serve in my government. I want you to be central to my government. And from what I've heard that the president is going to declare emergency in the power and energy sector. And El-Rufai will be appointed as Minister of Power.
That's speculation. It's not
That
there
is
as
what
a
I heard.
portfolio. Yeah.
That is what I heard.
Yes.
And because of the track record that this man has, he's bringing him to bear on that sector of the country.
Okay.
And of course, you have Umai, who is also the best governor any state in the southeast has ever had. And we know that the man that many see as a messiah today was governor in the southeast. It doesn't even come close to Umai of Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State before now was completely moribund. It was a state that nobody used to talk about. But today, Ebonyi State has become a wonder in the southeast. Go and check. So when you have such people, and even if they didn't want, and the president said, no, I want you. It is like maybe the coach, when Abramovich bought Chelsea, he started headhunting champions, people who could transform that club to the kind of club he wanted. And that's how he brought Drogba, SC, and the rest of them, Balak. And that is what Tinubu is doing. So it surprises me that anybody could even complain that the man is bringing champions to his government. In fact, somebody like Tinubu ought to be saying, I'm afraid to bring these people. I cannot control them. This is a team of champions that cannot be pushed around. There are people who will deliver on assignments that will be given to them. And they will work without being faced by external control. Because they have their name, they have their integrity, they have their history to also protect.
All right, Dr. Agbons, are you concerned in any way by the seeming posture of this ministerial nominees as a compensation for electoral victory, as it were? Are you bothered in that light?
Yeah, definitely, Sonny, definitely. And it's not unexpected because, like I stated earlier, this is a presidential system of government and it's party politics. So those who work, they
must
rewarded.
chop. Those who work must chop. That's what I have to say.
So that is expected. It's not a new thing. Every government, Tinubu is not the first president we are having. We've had Obasanjo, Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari and all that. So it's not new. And we see how presidential system is operated in other countries. So there's no problem with that. But for many of us, analysts like us, what we like, there's nothing overly new about this list. And if you notice, I've refrained from really mentioning names in this interview, beginning to pick, but I think I'm being forced to do that now. If you look at a name like Sani Abubakar Danladi, is a senator. Professor Ali Pate is a former Minister of State for Health. And then I think we've mentioned all the governors. Somebody like Stella Okotote, the lady from Delta State, even though she has some issues, there was a time she had some issue with certificate and all that. She's in the finance sector. Wale Edun, we all know, is from the finance sector as well. Wike is a lawyer. Umahi is an engineer. I want us to know something when it comes to the problem Nigeria have always had. The way we recycle leadership in Nigeria. My brother, my brothers in the studio, we need to have a rethink. Because this idea of, this person did this person did that, we just mention things, infrastructure, this and that, and there are no proper empirical evidence. It's just too much of politics for some of us, and that is why the level of psychophancy, even from people who are not directly involved in political appointment. I don't know whether it's because of what we want to get or what we want to enjoy, or because it's our party. Like I've said, campaigns are over. So let's focus on what can be done now. And I must say this, it is also very unfortunate, and I think the National Assembly have to look at that. We need to amend our laws. High time that when presidents send their ministerial list, portfolios should be attached.
Okay.
Sonny Duke, when you were introducing this program, you said that National Assembly have even promised that even if it takes 3 hours, they will screen a minister. I will be happy for somebody like Dr. Betta Eduna. Let's assume the president has put their health. So when she goes to the Senate, they will drill her and ask her, how are you going to deal with issue of tertiary healthcare, primary healthcare, working with state government, secondary healthcare, that kind of thing. And then somebody like Wale Edun, if he's Minister for Information, no, I'm talking of Dele Alake, Minister of Information. So you ask him, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? So we need to be having that. So those are some of the things I think we should be talking about. Let the portfolios be attached so that when they go to the Senate, they will be asking them questions directly to their portfolio. Or you put somebody in education, you say, okay, our university system, what are you going to do? Vocational education, secondary education, how are you going to work with the state, primary education with the local government, what are the changes we are bringing? These are the things we should be hearing. Or if somebody like Fagbemi, who is a legal luminary, you say, okay, if you are made the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, what is it that you're going to do? So those are some of the things I think we should be discussing and not just staying on campaign mood.
All right, but Manuel, quickly talk to us about this challenge of not knowing the portfolios that the ministerial nominees will be given, which ought to give us Nigerians the opportunity to really assess these people and know their capacity, their experiences, their pedigrees, and their abilities to deliver in those ministries. What's your take on this?
Okay, thank you. I think this is not the first time that lists are being sent to the Senate without portfolio attached to those names.
Yes.
Successive government did that, and it's not something new. And like I said before, this is even Asiwaju's style of governance. From being a governor, he has always sent names to the assembly for scrutiny and approval. And let me use the Lagos story for example, because I keep saying I use your past to judge your present and tomorrow. Today, Lagos economy is sitting on over $350 million per day. We got to this feat via the intellectual and leadership prowess of Asiwaju. How? Bringing on board competent minds to lead and drive the economy of Lagos State.
I think this line of reasoning explains why Dr. Agbon said campaigns are over. Let's face the business of governance in terms of changing the narratives. I mean, there should be a paradigm shift in terms of governance and impact.
And yes, that is where I'm going to.
Okay.
Whenever I Edo State, I go in company of leaders that I know they have the wherewithal to get security for safety. And we don't even close our eyes at night when we are sleeping. We look for how to scamper for safety here and there. It happens over and over again. But here in Lagos State, I don't have a security man. I sleep like a baby. Why? Because there was a security template that was handed over to government from A to Z via the actual leadership. And that is why I keep saying that if the only politician alive today in Nigeria that has the wherewithal to pick, to get the best of mind to run this economy, for me, not attaching portfolio to it, submitting to Senate is for Senate to approve. And don't forget, this list was submitted to the DSS. Which of the security agency or which of the senator have scrutinized names, either in their past and their present, whatever they have done, that is DSS. So if the DSS have approved 28 names, you should know that the process of getting these people on board was not just a normal political process. Some names were dropped. It's not on the media. Some names were accepted. Some were asked to be changed. It's not on the media. So let us give this man a breathing space to arrange the best of him to move.
Okay.
Now, if the senators have scrutinized this man and they have approved all the names and sent back to him, I tell you the truth, he will not pick a round peg to a square hole. He will put economies to economy, agriculture to agriculture, security to security. That's what he's going to do. So I am very, very much hopeful that more than the pains Nigerians are passing through now, it took him time to build this team. You don't expect that the team will now be a combination of charlatans. But from the credentials we have seen, the economy will start driving towards the right direction from now.
Okay.
You talk of palliative, you talk everything that we need will now come to the table for proper discussion, and there's going to be robust debate. Asiwaju is a leader that is open to robust debate. So we should look forward to a national executive system where people will debate more before going to the field to execute. That is what we are in now.
Thank you, Bano. Let's pause you there. We'll come back to you as much as time would permit us to do that. So, Mr. Daniel will begin. Yes, we're here. The seeming dominant conversation in this part of the conversation has to do with the fact that the ministerial nominees don't have portfolios yet. If you were to rank areas or priorities for the present administration to focus attention on and possible names that could fill those areas, what would they be?
Yeah, but very quickly, let me quickly address the issue of recycling that Dr. Sapmawa seems to be talking about all the time. Maybe it bothers him. But I want to let him know that the American system, the Nigerian presidential system, was fashioned after the American presidential system. In the US, for instance, you know, there are people who have been senators for over 40 years, over 45 years. And the American people have constantly returned them.
And they are not as rich, as wealthy as the senators that we have here. They are not as rich, as wealthy as the National Assembly members that we have here. They earn fatter salaries than the ones that we have here. So let's always balance the conversation. Yes,
we don't know.
Because we do know the stories. The information is there. It's there.
For instance,
we know what the
McCain, for instance,
what the legislator in Nigeria takes home.
McCain, for instance, who spent about 36 years in the American Senate, was a multi-millionaire in dollars. In American dollars, was multi-millionaire. We don't know, but it's just that
if he were to be a Nigerian, he probably would be a billionaire in dollars.
Yes. In American
and I'm saying
dollars.
if such a legislator were to be a Nigerian, he would be a multi-billionaire
while raising other people. I read books.
No, we need to balance this conversation. That's what I'm saying.
I will suggest a book for you. The name of the book is Future Perfect.
Yes.
If you are reading it, you'll be so amazed. You will think that you are reading about Nigeria. But it's about America. Future Perfect.
Yes.
It's a book on America. And you think you are reading about Nigeria. So no system is perfect. No system is error-proof. And no system... corruption is not a Nigerian word.
Absolutely.
It's an English word. So let's not even go there. Yes. But the point I want to make is that in America, they also recycle their leaders. There are people who were ministers 20 years ago. They can bring them back if they're going to do a job to be minister again. So if somebody can do a job, why not bring the person? In fact, I would prefer somebody who has always been there than somebody who is just a beginner who will start buying a house afresh, who will start probably want to marry a second wife afresh, and just start from the beginning.
So where is the innovation and creativity coming to play?
I haven't said that.
Yes.
That is what I'm saying. The innovation
and creativity
that Wike carried out in Rivers, he now has opportunity to bring it to the federal level. The innovation that Umani did in Ebonyi, he has opportunity to bring it to the national level. And of course, El-Rufai and the rest of them. So they have opportunity to now to now do governance at the national level and bring their talent to bear for the country. Now, coming to the question you asked me, if you could remind me again, because my flow of thought was...
that's exactly why it's always important you respond to the question
first. I needed to quickly address that.
You needed to
it was very important.
First.
So Nigerians will know
I was talking about the fact that... I was talking about the fact that...
is not a bad thing.
Many of these nominees, we don't know their portfolios yet.
Yes.
And there are a lot of problems in the country. How would you rank these problems? And how would you, what would be your suggestion in terms of the possibility of these guys, filling in those portfolios?
Brilliant question. Left to me, I would want them to have portfolio from the beginning. Because it doesn't make sense to appoint somebody, you send his name to the Senate for confirmation, and the Senate doesn't even know the ministry the person is going to oversee. So going forward, I would even want the Senate to pass a law that for any person to be nominated, the ministry must be stated so that it will be clear to Nigerians, and we all can also quiz that nominee based on his or her knowledge in that area, in that ministerial area. Having said that, there are 4 or 5 key areas I suggest that this government must focus on. The first one is security. We must redesign our security architecture. It should not just be to combat crime. It should also be focused on preventing crime. Now, you now ask yourself, before 1999, the security situation in Lagos State was very bad. But today, the improvement is a lot. In fact, the margin of improvement is so much. So what did Tinubu do in Lagos? Can he replicate it in Nigeria?
And yet, a billionaire kidnapper thrived in that Lagos where he ran a lot of business people.
And he wasn't, and he was using Lagos. He was using Lagos as a base and going to other states to carry out, because Lagos was not friendly for him to operate. There was no single kidnapping that he did in Lagos. So that is evil, a pointer to the father. What I'm saying about Lagos. Yes.
We can.
So he was living in Lagos, but he could not operate in Lagos. He was operating in Edo State and in other places.
It's still Policies Today on independent television and radio. If you just join us, welcome to a very robust conversation on the program this lovely Saturday morning. Our studio number is now open, so you can call and be part of the discussion. Let's get to meet our first caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Sean.
Okay, please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio.
Okay, I will actually put it off.
Okay, better.
See, I'm actually not comfortable with the man sitting with you there.
No, just a minute. Where are you calling us? Where are you calling us from? We need to know. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from GRA.
All right, go ahead.
So I pick holes in what the man is saying.
Okay.
That you should continue to recycle the same old politicians. That's actually what has brought us to where we are today.
Okay.
Over the years, still having the same old politicians, doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, they have that, taking us to. You cannot compare Nigeria and United States. Even if they have to call back their own politicians, they don't loot as much as our politicians loot here. So it does not make sense that the same people will continue to be there, and you are not giving chance to the new ones. So if you do that, it means the new generation of politicians with their knowledge will not be given a chance.
Okay.
Yes, to do something for the nation.
Thank you for your contribution. Our studio number is 080-7777-0300. You can dial that number right now and be part of the conversation. Please let us know.
Dr. Betty Edu is just 36 years.
No, just hold on. That's just one in the
Okotete is less than 40
Hello,
years.
Kola, good morning.
And there are a lot of them.
What's your name? Go ahead.
Good morning.
Yes,
My name is John Bosco, calling from Benin.
All right, go ahead, Don Brosco.
Okay, I only have two things to say in regard to this conversation.
Go ahead, please.
First, one of your panelists said we are in a hurry to get what we want.
We should be
We
patient.
spent 8 years in this country. Nothing comes out from it. Is it only the poor that should always be patient with the government? We're not in a hurry to increase fuel price 2 times within 1 month. Do you know how much it costs in buying fuel? And secondly, he also said that he built Lagos. Nobody built Lagos. Federal government built Lagos. If not for the monopoly that was given to Lagos compared to other states, how do you think other states would have been like if this opportunity is given to them? Okay, he built Lagos and forget to build hospital where he can treat himself, right? Sometimes when we are making comparisons, we give a genuine fact and a genuine comparison.
Okay, thank you, caller. 08077770300. That's our studio number. Dial it and let's get your take on it. No, just hold on a moment, Pastor Begia. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you calling us from? Good morning.
My name is Comrade Abe. I'm calling from Benin.
Yes, Comrade Abe is joining us live. Go ahead, please, Comrade Abe.
The truth of the matter is that it's just unfortunate to keep on appointing a set of people. You understand? There are a lot of good brains in Nigeria that can be appointed in this position of ministers. So I'm not in support of bringing out the old people again.
Okay.
At least they've served enough. They should go and relax. Let them bring another fresh people on board.
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Abe. Quickly dial the number if you've got contributions to make. Maybe I have a question to ask by way of contribution as well. 08077770300. That's the studio number. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Good morning, caller. What's your name?
I'm calling from Ekewa Road.
All right, please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio to remove the echo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Actually, I feel the surprise concerning the appointment. Because we have a lot of young guys there that are qualified, that can give a trial, but the people accepting old people. What do they have?
Okay, I'm afraid we'll just take you off because the audio is echoing back. We always advise that you turn down the audio level on your TV or radio to remove the echo so we can have a very robust and meaningful conversation. Dial the number again if you can, 08077770300 is the studio number on Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Be brief because others are waiting to make their contributions to the conversation as we gradually bring the program to a close this Saturday morning. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Exactly the same problem. If you're too loud, we can't hear what you're saying. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. What's your name?
My name is David.
Okay, so we will call it a wrap shortly, but let's just get final words from our panelists in terms of their expectations from the ministerial nominees. Anyhow we like it, whatever we feel about it. They've made a list. It certainly will be screened, bearing any last minute change or changes as the case may be. They certainly will become a new set of ministers, even though we're yet to ascertain exactly where they are going to function. But anyhow, they understand the state of affairs in the country. What are your expectations, Dr. Agbons?
Yeah, thank you, Sonny Duke. For me, like as Isofo said, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So we wait and see what this new team will do.
Okay.
And as a Nigerian, I must say this, I lived in Lagos when Tinubu was governor. So some of the things that some people are banding around, I just shake my head. The truth of the matter is that we need to start seeing those in political position as servants. They are to serve us. I've always said this in several fora. And we should not be kowtowing to them. They are to serve us. They apply to do this job. So we shouldn't be praising them excessively. When they do well, we commend. And when they don't, we also put forward objective criticism. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you, Dr. Agbounce. Bob Manuel Umoru, could you please share some thought with us on as part of your parting words?
Like Dr. Agbounce said, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. This pudding, you will not be tired of eating it because it will spring up the United States, will change the face of our economy in no distant time. Okay. And I leave you with this. Yesterday, we bought SIM card for 80,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and all the rest of it. Today, it's a different story. Okay. Yesterday, we can't sleep in Lagos. Today, we can't sleep. Expect that same triumphant miracle in our economy, but it's going to be a process. And I trust those on the list not to disappoint the hope and aspiration of Nigeria, but take Nigeria and Nigeria to the next pedestal of prosperity.
All right, thank you.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you, Bob Manuel. Pastor Bugge, final word.
Yes, I expect that the government will declare there's emergency in critical infrastructure, security, food production, and providing electricity. And I also want to encourage Nigerians. I cannot blame them because successive governments have disappointed them. I want to encourage them to be patient with this government because there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and with the kind of people the government has put together, people who have track records, people who have done well in their previous positions, they are primed to do well again. Let's give this government the next 2 years.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, whatever has a beginning certainly has an end. So we've come to the end of Politics Today on independent television and radio this lovely Saturday morning. Big thanks to all our panelists from across the world, academic and global affairs analysts joining us from the UK, Dr. Tony Osakmawa Agbounce. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And Bob Manuel Umoru, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
And Pastor Bugge, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me once again.
Okay,
that's our package today. Very quickly, we are having fun.
Absolutely, that's our package today on the program. But we just want to say that Mr. President must write his name in gold by creating a platform that we bring us out of the doldrums as we currently are in. There is room for creativity and innovations. That can only happen when you bring fresh airs, bring new ideas, bring young people that have the capacity to deliver. I'm not saying all of this rests with young people. There are over 200 million Nigerians, and there's so much more we can do by getting the right people, getting more people, getting newer people to bring more initiative that will change the narratives about this country. Recycling the same old folks that have held this country aground certainly will not help us. Well, that's my parting words on the program today. Big thanks to you and you for staying with us. Do have a great weekend